We're going to be painting this picture by Edward Siego, and we're going to start off with the very first pale washes, which just show us really where the snow is, and they show us where the sky is and things. So what I've done here is just to draw out, first of all, just a few simple lines which don't really show up on the video because I wanted them to be very, very pale. Just where the pond is and where the trees were and things. Just a few lines there. And I'm coming in with first some ultramarine, which has just been greyed down a little bit with some burnt sienna, and then I'm washing on here just a little bit more raw sienna, which just comes in just to form a sort of a cloud formation here. Everything's kept very, very pale, and then just come in again with a bit more of the ultramarine colour, which is mixed in with what was on the brush from the raw sienna, so it's formed a sort of a greyish colour there at the bottom. So we've got a bluey at the top, an ochre colour in the middle, and then this sort of greyish at the bottom. You can see I'm working quite fast. I'm just carefully here, just going around the line that I've drawn at the top to delineate where the snow is. But I've kept everything pale, everything very quick. Just putting in the pond here now, working with a number 10 round brush, which we'll use for the whole of the painting. So one brush and just a couple of colours, and we're away for the whole of the painting there, keeping everything very loose, very quick, and it shouldn't take more than a few minutes to complete the whole thing. So there we are, we've got the snow marked out, and it's now time to start to paint the background. We'll let that first wash dry, and then once it's dry we're coming in here with a slightly darker mix of the bluey grey and beginning to put in some of these trees that are in the background, just very loosely, just marking them on. It's not a very dark wash, but I do want to mark out underneath here with a bit of the burnt sienna colour. I do want to mark in a nice patch which is going to go behind the bridge and just form a focal point to draw the eye. There's a little bit wet there, so I'm just going to dry the bottom of that off, just lift off some of these puddles, and that'll melt in nicely together and form that function of just drawing the eye into the centre of the picture there. Coming again on this side, just a slightly darker mix here, just coming in to put in these other trees, and I just want to feather them out. So I'm just going to dry the brush off a bit, squeeze the paint out, feather the ends out, and then pull some of this paint out onto the back there. It just gives it that sort of liveliness and that sort of feathering action. Just different brush strokes really, just bring a bit of variety to the picture. Just dry off the brush, splay it out a bit and pull those bits out there, and it just gives that feeling of sort of branches and things that are there. There we go. And finally, when that's dry, we want to paint in the foreground. So we're coming in with a much darker mix, and we're going to do this really with lots of expressive brush strokes. So here we come in just with the dark, massive trees on the left-hand side. Just want to put those in very loosely. Don't want to spend too much time fiddling because everything will dry up and will get run. So I want to work on this pretty quickly while the paint is still wet. And you see I'm using the brush here in lots of different ways. Here I'm using it a bit like a pen to give me very controlled motion, very controlled brush strokes there, but at other times I just want to come in with it on its side there and drag paint across, just moving it around in all sorts of ways so we get different brush marks, different expressions of the paint on the paper, and it will bring life to it. And I'm going to follow with my pencil lines up here, that I've marked in, just really to show me where the trees should go, because those two trees are quite important. They sort of just hold the centre of the painting there. So just wanted to get those right with a couple of pencil marks, but the rest of it is really done without pencil at all. It's drawing and painting with the brush. So we'll just continue just to mark on some of these bits and pieces, some of these trees, leaving little holes for the birds to fly through, so it's not a solid wall. And every now and again just want to put in some extra sort of branches and things, just to bring the trees to life really. You can't copy exactly the original painting because you need to make it up as we go along, and if you spend too much time working out exactly where a branch went or what happened with it, then we lose the whole impetus of the painting. So I'm just taking the feel of it really and having a go at creating it myself. And you can just see how quickly and easily we're actually beginning to produce the feeling of the trees here. One more in there, there we go. And that provides a lovely arch above the bridge that comes in, and above the focal point, which is that little orangey glow just below the bridge. Just dragging the brush on its side there just to create some little feathery strokes and things for twigs and things. And it works really well for that. Does the work for you, really. That's looking good so far. So now we need to come on and paint a little bit more of the other bits of the picture. So we're going with the little bush at the back here, just using the same paint, added a little bit more brown to it just to create a bit of interest there. We realise that these trees actually come a little bit further down and need to be planted in the snow there. So while the paint's still wet, I'll dot those in so it won't show that I missed it out in the beginning. But there we are, that pulls them down into the snow. And we're going to come in now with the point of the brush, using it as a pen, so I've got lots of control, and just pop in this sort of bridge that's there. And that's all there is to it, really. Just a few little lines like that. Don't go back in and work over it if it doesn't look right. It's a one-shot thing, this, and you just have to leave what's down and use that as the picture, perfect or not. Come in now with the same kind of paint. I'll put a little bit of blue in with this, just a touch in, just to darken it down a little bit. And I'm going to come in now with the edge of the pond. So just draw in the few lines that need. We don't need to go all the way around it and cut it out. We just need a few lines on there. And then in a moment we'll come in with some clean water on a damp brush and just smooth those in a little bit so they're not quite so harsh. So I think that's probably enough just to mark out where it is. I'm just coming and just smooth those down, just melt some of those colours in a little bit with a damp brush and blend them in. Now we need some reflections as well under the trees, so we just pull it down, just very simply, just like that, just pull some of these colours right down. And we've got a tree there, there's another one here somewhere, just pull these down as reflections into the water, and of course there's a reflection of the little bridge as well, so we'll just pop that in. And a little bit of the burnt sienna colour under there, just to provide that splash of colour reflected into the water. And you can see how there's those reflections, so simply done, but it actually makes the water surface. And we've got the edges of the snow, very, very simple, just a few brush marks, and it's done. Just put a little bit of something in here, just to break up that white area, a few little grasses or something poking up through the snow there. I think this area here could do with just being darken up a little bit. It was just a little bit too pale. We had this sort of dark bush on the right hand side with nothing to balance it, so just darken that in. And again, I'm just going to do the same as I did before, splay out the brush and pull some of those marks out there, and that just creates a little bit more interest in the background there. And then finally just a few marks here on the snow here, just to finish it off and to create a bit of texture there. And I think that's the painting pretty much done.